the Nashville 2 podcast with your host, Edward Fox.
G'day, viewers and listeners. It's Ed Fox back with another great episode of Nashville 2. Nashville 2, where we tell Middle Tennessee stories. You're Nashville 2, so let's tell your story. If you know somebody that needs to be on the show, have them go to nashville2.com where they can register to be a guest. We'd love to hear what they're doing in the Middle Tennessee community. And today, my special guest is Staci Johnson with Buffalo Health Advisors. Staci, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
Hey, no worries. And Buffalo Health Advisors is not about advising owners of buffaloes on their health.
It is not.
Just to be clear, we're not talking about Buffalo Health, but Buffalo Health Advisors is the umbrella that you guys work under. And you predominantly, just so we get this sort of line out of the way and we'll dig more into the business, but what is it Buffalo Health Advisors and you do, Staci?
We're really like a boutique agency that specializes in helping seniors with their Medicare options.
Okay, so Medicare, so basically you're an insurance advisor for Medicare for people 65 and over, right?
Right, or people that have Medicare due to disability or things like that.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we'll get into that. But first off, now, are you from, this is what I normally ask everybody, are you from Middle Tennessee originally?
I am not.
Okay, where's home?
So home would be Iowa, Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Iowa, isn't that an acronym for something? You know, those of us living
out wandering around, yes.
Idiot wandering around. I play a lot of cricket. When we lived in Kansas for 30 years, we'd travel down to Oklahoma City, and they said, oh, Kansas is very windy. I said, you know why Kansas is very windy? Because Nebraska sucks and Oklahoma blows, is what. But I run into people that don't know that Kansas is between Nebraska and Oklahoma, and that Iowa's off to the east there.
Right.
So Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Grew up there?
Yes, grew up on an Arabian horse farm.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
We'll have to dig into that someday.
Sure.
So how do you end up in the Nashville Metro Area?
So I spent my summers selling books with Southwestern, and my husband and I both met as sales managers, and that company was headquartered here.
Oh, okay. So you got a lot of experience as a college student selling books. Was that door to door?
It was door to door.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll talk about that too. So the company's here. So why did you decide? Did you move here to work for the company?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So you and your husband Stac meet through selling books door to door. So that'd be a great story in and of itself, right?
It is.
And what year was that? What year do you end up moving to the Nashville area?
I became probably a permanent resident in Tennessee in 1999.
Okay, so 1999. You've seen a lot of changes in Tennessee.
Oh my God.
Do you have a we'll get one of your hidden gems out of the way. Do you have a favorite thing that you like to do in Nashville that you still do to this day?
I love downtown Franklin. You know, there's a little restaurant called Merides. There's McCreary's. There's just our church is right there at 5 Points. It's a neat feel. I love downtown Franklin.
Right. Yeah, I like the parade. I like what they do. They dress up downtown, the Christmas stuff right there in the roundabout and that sort of area. So we're in Franklin too. So Alice and I moved to Franklin end of 21, I think it was. End of 21, end of 20, end of 21. That's what made me start doing the podcast, is I wanted to learn about all the cool things, Franklin. So if somebody's living in Hendersonville or Goodlettsville or Lebanon and they're hearing about Franklin, it's worth an evening down in Franklin, go to a good restaurant, hang out downtown.
And there's the art crawl every month where you can, go from shop to shop, or to the church, and they have different pieces of art, Yeah.
And so how long have you lived in the Franklin area?
Oh, since we got married, So yeah, I bought a house in Antioch, and I still have it. And then, but when we got married, he said, I prefer living in Franklin where I am over Antioch. And so here we are.
Okay, cool. No disrespect to Antioch. It's just that.
Right. it is really exciting over there right now, the changes that are happening and the outlet mall coming in.
So how did you move into becoming a Medicare insurance a health advisor?
It's actually a great question. So after my kids were born, I did some different things after I, left Southwestern. And I wanted something where I could be at home and have my own schedule, but also I wanted to start a career. So I worked for an agency in Brentwood that did everything. It did Medicare, it did hospital indemnity plans, life insurance, fixed indexed annuities, it did life insurance, all of them. The problem was I didn't feel like I could be really good at all of those things, because when you're selling somebody a fixed indexed annuity, you need to really, really understand it, and you need to understand everything about it. But I gravitated towards Medicare. I was a social work major. That's what I graduated with a degree in, and I loved helping the senior population. So that was just a fit.
Right. And you and I have talked a little bit. We're in a networking group together called the Business Ambassador Networking Group. Basically,
yes.
I think it's like, I like the idea of Bang being the catalyst to your business growth. That's sort of like the tagline that I sort of generated and created for it. But so we're getting to know each other in that group. You seem to have a real passion for helping those people that need to navigate the Medicare system. There's a lot of ins and outs.
Right. I mean, I've always enjoyed their company. I think there's so much there's so much knowledge. They've lived life, they're older, and they've seen a lot of things. So there's just so much to gather from them personally. But the purpose of me being there is to help them with their insurance. And especially now more than ever, it has become where it's a sale. There's the commercials on TV, and you've heard me talk about this. Call in, sign up. It's become a numbers game with insurance companies trying to get as many people as possible to their product. The thing is, it doesn't really matter which insurance company you go with. You need to sit with the senior, and you need to understand all of your options that you have in front of you. And then you need to look at the specifics to see what fits you best. There is no one product that is that much superior to the other ones. It's all what fits you. So yeah, it really bothers me that it has become that way. And that's probably one of my mission statements in doing what I do now, and with the agents that we work with, is this is about a senior figuring out their health insurance. And yes, they can change it from year to year and all that. But when you first turn 65, there are some decisions you need to make. And you need to know all, like, for example, let me give you an example. You cannot get on a Medicare supplement without underwriting if you do not choose that when you first come new to Medicare. That's a big deal. They need to understand that. They may still choose.
I understand what that means.
So that means there are two types of health insurance when it comes to Medicare. There's the traditional Medicare, where you keep Medicare and you just pay money, and the supplement covers the other 20%, known as Medigap. Okay. And then you buy a drug plan. Okay. With that, you can go to any doctor in the country. When you turn 65, there's no underwriting with that. Okay. So you can get on that. If you don't take that when you're 65, they're going to underwrite you. Okay.
And what's underwrite you?
Pardon?
What's that mean when you say they're going to underwrite you? I don't know what that means.
Oh, okay. They're going to ask you health questions.
Okay.
So you may not qualify to get on that at a later date. And the other option is the Advantage plan. And those are very, very good in many ways too. But they're two very different products, and you need to understand the differences and the limitations of each of them.
As a person getting close to 65, when is the right time to sit down with somebody that they trust, like yourself, to find out the ins and outs of Medicare? What is it? Is it right after I turn 65? Is it right before? When's a good time to start talking to somebody like you?
Okay, 3 months prior to your 65th birthday, that's when you can apply for Medicare. Okay. I mean, I'll talk to people a year in advance. People will call me just to say, hey, I'm thinking about retiring, because a lot of people will delay Medicare if they're going to continue to work and keep their company insurance. So I have people call me, really not more than a year in advance, because things change a little bit each year.
Right.
So a year in advance would be the most, but yeah, I'm happy
64 and a half. They should have a plan to talk to somebody that they trust that understands Medicare, so that they make sure they don't screw that up, right? Because isn't there penalties that if you don't?
Yes, there's penalties, and there's you just don't want to get caught up in being with someone that was just trying to make the sale. Right. I mean, I have to say that. And there are lots of good agents out there, but there are also people that are just trying to make the sale to make a living. And nothing against those people, but you really need to understand your product.
Right. So I was interested when you gave a presentation on understanding the penalty. So, there's a base rate or whatever. And if you don't sign up, explain a little bit about that penalty that people need to.
So when you turn 65, you decide not to get Part B, and you don't have any other coverage that's credible, they're going to penalize you for not signing up for Part B. Okay, you have to pay for Part B. Part A you earn, you don't pay for it, but Part B you have to pay. So some people may choose not to get it. If you don't have any other coverage they consider credible, they'll penalize you. Company insurance is almost always credible. Okay, VA, okay, TRICARE, credible coverage. Okay.
In other words, if I still continue to work after 65 and I have my company's insurance, then I won't be penalized. But
correct.
When I stop working, I have to pay for Part D, or I will be penalized.
B as in boy and D as in drug for the drug plan. B is a part of original Medicare. It's the medical part, and D is the drug plan.
Okay. And so those penalties don't go away. Even if I do start paying for it, once the penalty is in place, it's in place for the rest of my life?
That is correct.
And that penalty could be how much?
I have seen Part B is 10% of the cost, each year and it accumulates and it never goes away. Part D is 1% of the cost of the average drug plan, and they charge it every single month that you don't have a drug plan from the time that you're supposed to. That being said, it depends on how many years. I mean, let's say you could probably not get a drug plan and you might have a penalty under $5. Right. But I run across seniors that are, 88 years old, and they never took anything, so they didn't get a drug plan. Well, those penalties are, extreme. They get into $60-$70 a month. That's expensive.
Right.
When you're
on top of that, the Part B penalty is what?
Correct. Part B is the 10%.
Okay.
Cost of Part B.
And of which would be 10% of whatever.
Like right now it's $164.90 for the cost of B. For 2024, it's going to $174.80, I think.
So is that right at the 174? That'll be like a $17 penalty per year or month. Okay. Year. And if you don't take it for 5 years, then you're up to an extra $100 a month, right?
Yeah.
Close ballpark. Yep. So
yep.
That was the thing that interested me and why I wanted you on the podcast, because some people don't even realize that that's going to happen to them, I don't think.
No, they don't. I mean, so what happens is when you turn 65, the government sends you a book. It's like this thick, that thick maybe, called Medicare and You. Well, it's all the information you could possibly ever want to know, but it's so much information, it's confusing.
Right.
It's like with Medicare, you can go down a rabbit hole. Even when explaining to people, I have to be careful because there's so many situations where it's like, well, this is how it is, except in this situation or this situation. Right. I mean, it's just, there's so many.
Yeah. Except on Tuesdays with a pink flamingo in the sky. Yeah. So folks, we'll put that disclaimer in here right now. Get with somebody you trust.
Yeah.
I'm not a lawyer. I didn't play one on TV. I don't know the right answers for everything. And Staci's saying the same thing. She's got to be careful because there's so many different variations. She doesn't know your situation just talking to me on the podcast. So make sure you sit down with and Staci, if they want to get a hold of you, we'll have all your information in the show notes. And so they'll be able to reach out. But I can give a recommendation to Staci right now. I've seen her work with people, and her quality her integrity is second to none, first off, and her quality of what's the way to put it? The quality of the work that she does, she will take the time needed to find the right plan. So definitely want to talk to Staci. So let's go more on to what else? What else do people not understand about Medicare?
Oh, there's so many things.
Well, pick your favorite that you think people should know and they don't.
A lot of people's, one of the biggest things I hear is I have a Medicare supplement, and they actually have an Advantage plan. The term Medicare supplement is interchangeable, and they're just always using that term. So a traditional Medicare supplement is a Medigap plan. Okay. An Advantage plan is not really a Medicare supplement. It doesn't supplement Medicare. An Advantage plan is when it is completely outsourced to a private insurance company. And there's a lot of pros to that, okay, because of the care that they give you and the extras that they give you. But a traditional supplement is truly where you keep original Medicare and the insurance only covers the other 20% and it supplements Medicare. So I would say that is probably one of the most common misunderstandings is people will come up to me and say, I have a Medicare supplement. And then they just get confused in conversations.
Right. Okay. So that's one.
Yeah. Probably the biggest thing I run into that I get calls on is people will say, well, I joined this plan and it was an Advantage plan and I thought my doctor took it and my doctor doesn't take it. I run into that a lot.
As a business owner, it can be tiring paying cash for everything you need. Well, there's a better way. Introducing Trade Bank of Nashville. Our bartering service lets you exchange goods and services without the need for cash transactions. Trade Bank helps businesses like yours reduce expenses, bring in new business, and keep your cash where you need it most. Find out more and join our barter network today. Start getting what you need without paying cash, because sometimes barter is just smarter. Apply today at nashville.tradebank.com.
What do they do then?
Well, if we can find an election period to change them, it depends on the time of year it is. Sometimes they can change, sometimes they can't. Then they'd have to change their doctor. I think another misconception, people may think Medicare covers long-term care. That's not true. Medicare will cover in-home health care, but as soon as you come to the point where technically you're chronically ill to the point that you're not going to get better, that becomes a long-term care issue. And then the only thing that's going to cover that is long-term care insurance, which isn't something that I do, but I certainly know people that do. And that is important.
And what's the average on people that are going to need long-term care in America today?
Oh gosh. I don't know the industry well enough to give you that statistic.
Okay. I had heard from a health insurance agent that I know and trust, it was like 1 in 3, which is scary. So it's like the Aflac guy, right? Telling us that 1 out of 2 men are going to get cancer sometime in their lifetime in America today.
Yeah. I know the cancer is like 1 in 2 for male, maybe it's a 1 in 3 with females. That's another thing. There are just certain things that you want to have insurance for. Long-term care, I would really encourage people to speak to a financial advisor because long-term care has really changed in the last 10 years.
Right.
And there are avenues where it's so many of the old policies where use it or lose it. There's so many better options out there. I would highly recommend talking to a financial advisor on that.
I need to get a couple of my financial advisor friends on the podcast and let them share what they know. Okay, so we've knocked out a couple. Any other big misconceptions or things that people don't understand? Like you said, there's a ton of them, but we've got a few more. We've got about 10 more minutes. So is there another thing that is something that you point out?
People will call me. I just had this text today. I have a gentleman who is on a Medicare supplement. Okay. And he's like, how do I get the dental, vision, and hearing? Those are always attached to an Advantage plan. Okay. Now his situation is he has had like 2 or 3 major surgeries. So for him, a supplemental option is good. He doesn't have any copays. He pays that monthly premium and everything else is covered. So that's a misconception, is where does the dental, vision, and hearing? Another misconception is call us at 1-800 whatever and get what you deserved. I got my $164.90 back. You can, if you qualify for your state Medicaid program, which is a low income level. And for some people, yes, but that is allowing you, if you call that number, you're giving them permission to talk to you about a Medicare Advantage plan. And then it's a salesperson on the other line. Statistically, the number of people that are going to qualify to get that $164.90 back is pretty low.
Right.
But it's because it is illegal for people to call you on an Advantage plan. You have to reach out to them.
Okay. So
they call you about Medicare or a supplement, but.
So they're doing everything they can to get you to reach out to them, because that's
absolutely
the law.
Once you pick up that phone and call, it's like going on the internet and saying, "Hey, I'm interested in car insurance."
or a mortgage loan, right? You get
absolutely. Your phone will blow up. Right. And I'm not going to say there aren't good people on the other end of that, but it's a crapshoot.
Right. Okay. So we've got a couple of minutes left. We've done one of your hidden gems, downtown Franklin. Give me another hidden gem, something that you love to do around the Middle Tennessee area that people may not know about. A favorite place to eat, a favorite, anything.
Okay, I'll give you one. I love to go hiking at Smith Park. It's at the corner of Wilson Pike and Split Log Road. Great trails. Great. I mean, it's an intense hike if you want to go high. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I'll lay down until the feeling passes, I think. But it's funny. I'll go out and play cricket for 6 hours down in Lewisburg with a bunch of my friends, and they've got so I probably need to get into hiking, but we lived in Kansas for 30 years, and so there is some nice places to hike, but it was all pretty level.
Right. No, I like a good hike. Get your heartbeat going.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to go out with you sometime. I'll go on a hike with you. And does Steck go with you, or do you do it by yourself?
Oh, no, we do it a lot together. He loves it.
Okay, then I'm going to have to go out. You have to take Alice and I out on do we have a beginner's level course that we can go?
Oh, yeah. You don't have to do the big,
Okay, there's some nice.
There's several areas where it'll get your heart rate up, but there's also a slower path. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So hiking. We actually drove down the old Natchez Chase Road the other night, and that was beautiful. That scenery is just great. And there's a lot of different areas where you can stop there and do hiking there too, as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's 2. What's your third hidden gem around Nashville? Where do you guys if you go out, do you cook a lot at home, or do you go out and eat?
My husband is an amazing cook. I mean, I don't even think restaurants can cook as good as he can sometimes. But where do we like to go? We like McCreary's Pub in downtown Franklin. I mentioned that before. We also where else do we go? We always end up we call it The Hat, a little Mexican restaurant in McKay's Mills. It's just close. Yeah, I can't really tell you anything. It's not like it's absolutely phenomenal. It's just close and nice and an amazing atmosphere with people. Right. They're just very friendly.
We're always looking for good restaurants. So that's in the Franklin area as well then?
Oh, I have been to Radish a couple times lately. That is really good.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, Radish right there by Jenny's Ice Cream and the new Cool Springs complex by the Williamson County Chamber. Highly recommend Radish.
Yeah, Aspen Grove Road.
Yes. Yep.
That I go to Condado's Tacos. I try and stay away from Jenny's Ice Cream as a diabetic,
Yes.
But I do love just love coffee as well down there.
Here's another thing. When you mentioned diabetic, there are plans that have come out in 2024 that are specifically designed for diabetics. That's a good thing. Right.
Yeah. Because the insulin cost and everything just seems to keep going up. So
they are working on that. Some insulin costs, I mean, there is a $35 limit on what they can charge. That has been passed.
Oh, wow.
So that's good. But the donut hole is still there. And that is a challenge for a lot of seniors.
Right. What's that mean? The donut hole is still there. I don't know that term.
The donut hole, to keep it simple, is when what you pay and what the insurance company reaches a certain amount of money, they haven't released the prices. It's usually around $4,500. They haven't released it for this next year. Okay. When you hit that amount, your costs of your medications is going to increase quite a bit until you pay about $7,000 out of your own pocket, and then it goes back down.
Okay, so folks, what we're hearing here is you need to talk to somebody like Staci, and if you don't have your somebody like Staci, then you need to talk to Staci because she's going to be able to take care of you. Yeah, I got the diabetic meter. When you said donut hole, there's a donut shop in Wichita called the Donut Hole. I said, yeah, that's a problem. I was thinking that's a problem for a diabetic. The donut hole shop would be a problem.
Well, and there's also a little donut shop up by Uncle Julio's in that strip mall right in that area. I don't know the name of it, but they make amazing donuts.
Really? My favorite is it's funny, he's got the same last name as me, Fox. It's Fox's Donut Den. And you just have to Google it. I'm still learning about the it's off of Hillsborough Road or Hillsborough Pike or something. Anyway, it's the Fox's Donut Den. And so that's kind of interesting. Well, Staci, it's been great having you on the show. We'll have all your contact details and information in the show notes. And I look forward to you hearing stories of being able to help people.
Absolutely. Look forward to it. I look forward to seeing you Thursday morning.
Thank you.
All righty.
This is the Nashville 2 podcast with your host, Edward Fox.